Dyno Plumbing and Heating Kent, proud sponsor of Team Talk.
Hello and welcome to Team Talk live on KMTV. I'm Nicola Everett. On tonight's programme, we'll have a roundup of the weekend's football action from across Kent. I'll be speaking with the best of the best from Kent's boxing scene ahead of a big event this weekend. Plus, we'll be joined by a Kent personal trainer who's on the road to becoming one of Europe's top bodybuilders. Steadying the ship, Harry Wheeler takes unbeaten run to 3 games at Maidstone.
Shows how far we've come. The lads were sitting in there at the end like we've lost the game, and you know, 2 weeks ago this would have been like a win, you know, to take a draw there. So we're delighted.
Boxing homecoming, Mote Park to host another bumper night of action. And from personal trainer to world beater, we meet the Kent bodybuilding star. But first this evening, as usual, we start with a roundup of the weekend's football highlights from across Kent. Ebbsfleet, Maidstone and Dover were all in National League action, whilst Tunbridge Angels were looking to continue their good form at the top of the Bostik Premier Division. Here's Harry Peat with the highlights.
We start at the Gallagher, where Maidstone United were looking to get their 3rd win in a row under Harry Wheeler. They faced tough opposition in Chesterfield, who were a constant in league football until relegation last season. Both sides were given a scare at the start of the match though, when Stone's centre-back Will de Havilland clashed heads and needed treatment. Sore head for the centre-back, but a great header for Stone's first goal. Blair Turgot's been a man on fire this season and was given a gift on the hour mark when a misplaced Chesterfield back pass fell kindly for the striker. He doesn't score many with his head, but was never going to miss this one for his 8th goal in 11 games this season. Into the second half, and goalkeeper Lee Morgan's been a key player in Stone's run of 2 wins and also 2 clean sheets. The shot stopper though had to be at his best just after the hour mark, when new man Simon Walton's header almost caught Morgan out, but thanks to his sharp reflexes, he managed to keep the Stones ahead. 10 minutes later though, and there wasn't much Wargs could do about Chesterfield's equaliser. Veteran striker Marc-Antoine Fortuné broke through on goal, and having scored dozens of goals in his 20-year career, he wasn't going to miss this one. It was close to being another win and another clean sheet for the Stones under Harry Wheeler, but the new manager will have to do with the points in this one.
I just said it shows how far we've come. The lads were sitting in there at the end like we've lost the game, and you know, 2 weeks ago this would have been like a win, you know, to take a draw there. So we're delighted, really pleased for them, and we just know there's stuff we've got to do, but no, they're doing well.
Elsewhere in the National League, and a Danny Kedwell-inspired performance led Ebbsfleet to a 3-1 win away at Dagenham. Dover, meanwhile, lost again to Barrow, losing out 2-0. In the National League South, and Dartford hosted Weston-super-Mare at Prince's Park, and it didn't take long for them to get into their stride. First, a free kick was awarded for a handball by Weston keeper. Ben Greenhow took the resulting free kick, but just rattled the bar. Darts, though, didn't have to wait too long for their first goal. Greenhow involved again, this time picking out Lee Noble in the box from the left to head home on 14 minutes. 1-0 Dartford. Darts couldn't hold on to that lead though. Gethin Hill's sweet strike caught Darren Ibrahim out, who'll be disappointed with conceding this one as he was caught out off guard, and the away side drew level just before half-time. Into the second half, and Greenhow was added again. This time his whipped free kick from the right flank picked out Elliot Bradbrook, with the skipper beating the offside trap to knock the ball down for Philpott to score and put them in front again. That was to be the final goal of the game, and 2 wins in 2 for the Darts, who stay 15th in the National League South. Moving down to the Bostik Premier, and Folkestone's 5-goal thriller against Brightlingsea saw them on the wrong end, losing 3-2. Whilst Margate lost 1-0 away at Haringey, and Tunbridge Angels' strong season came to a halt as they lost at home 3-2 against Bishop Stortford. In the Bostik South East Division, and it was a Kent derby at the weekend as Faversham took on East Coast neighbours Whitstable Town. The away side took an unlikely lead inside 15 minutes when Louis Brosen found space in the box and coolly slid it home to put Whitstable in front. Into the second half, and a sloppy pass at the edge of their own box allowed Whitstable to get another chance and another goal against Faversham. Stephen Smith this time the beneficiary of another mistake to double Town's lead. Just after the hour mark though, Faversham did pull one back, although in uncertain circumstances. A whip free kick from the left found Matt Bourne at the back post, whose header was cleared on the goal line, or just over it according to the assistant, who judged it to be a goal. You can make your own minds up on that one. And finally, Gill shared 4 goals apiece against Shrewsbury in their 2-2 draw in League One on Saturday.
Now, from the success of Kent's football teams to the success of an up-and-coming star in the world of sport in the county, Avenue Tennis personal trainer Sarah Cooper has just won a major bodybuilding competition and is now in the running to represent Great Britain at an international event. And I'm delighted to say that Sarah joins me in the studio now, along with Kelly Marshall, who she's helping to train. Sarah, how on earth did you get into this firstly? Just explain your story.
Well, it was just by someone saying, oh, I think you've got a good shape, maybe you should try it out. And I was, no, I'm not going to do that. But then I thought about it, only a couple of weeks, and then started using weights, absolutely fell in love with doing the weights, and started to notice my body was changing, and I liked what I was seeing, and it just went from there.
We've maybe seen the images of male bodybuilders before, but perhaps not female bodybuilders quite so much. Is it starting to get a bit more recognition?
Yeah, massively. Women are more and more enjoying the weight side of things, realising their bodies look better because their shape's actually changing. And it's not just about losing the weight, it's about changing the whole shape and how look what they want to achieve. So, yeah, it's definitely...
Obviously a very disciplined thing as well as being in the gym. Tell us a bit about your lifestyle, your diet in particular.
Oh, it's yeah, very, very strict, as Kelly knows, because obviously Kelly, I'm getting ready for her first show, which is going to be Pure Elite. It's in 6 weeks' time, so she's at that stage now where she's quite depleted from food. So it's very strict. Of calories are very low. So obviously brings down the energy. It's very much chicken, fish, rice, sweet potato, all those kind of things. No sweets, no chocolate. No wine, no nothing, all the stuff that a lot of women like.
Nice stuff.
Yeah,
so how are you finding it, Kelly? Sarah must be a great role model for you.
She is, definitely. I admire her hugely. So, you know, and I couldn't think of anybody better really to put me through to my first competition. I trust her immensely. Yeah, the food's restrictive. The training's hard, but it's worth it. Definitely worth it.
And you've noticed how much your body's changed over the months.
I used to run, and you know, from changing in my body shape from when I was a runner to now is amazing.
And how do you manage to fit in the training with your normal day-to-day life? Is it quite tricky balancing everything?
I think you just have to slot it in. You know, I train every morning, so you know, once it's done, and you can carry on with the rest of your day. So it's just a case of making time for it. It's not that difficult, actually.
No, people seem to think you need hours in the gym.
Yeah,
you're talking 45 minutes to an hour. You just got to keep the training intense. Basically smash it and get out. And that's it, pretty much.
And tell us about this international competition. You've got the chance to represent Great Britain. That's right. A huge honour.
So that's in 8 weeks' time. So I'm flying off to Portugal to compete out there, so which is really, really exciting. Nerve-wracking, but exciting. So, and then see where we go from there. And
what's the competition going to be like when you get there?
I'm not sure, 100% sure. It's just, I know it's like obviously people from sort of like Italy, Spain, Portugal. So I'm going to be competing all against sort of Europe and that. So
pretty tough. I'm sure you're going to be watching with interest as what happens. Definitely. Is that the sort of thing that you think you'd like to do in future?
I don't know where it will take me. I think we'll see where the first competition and how that you know transpires.
I think you'll do amazing.
I think people do get hooked, but we'll see.
And what would you say to other women who've maybe seen the pair of you and thought, you know, that's something I would quite like to get into. I go to the gym, but maybe I want to do a little bit more.
Pick the right trainer is the first thing I would say, but definitely go for it. 100% go for it.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding. It is.
Absolutely, despite maybe the lack of food at times.
There's a lot of ups and downs, but you'll get through it. And like I said, if you've got the right trainer, you can get through it. You can get through it 100%.
What sort of comments do you get from people if they see you and say, "Wow, look at your physique"? Are they quite surprised when you tell them what you do?
Yeah, they are actually. Yeah, because they have this image in their head that, oh, if you say you're a bodybuilder, it's you're massive like a man, but it's not the case. And they're like, oh, they're really surprised. Actually, you don't look. Do you use lots of light weights? No, I use lots of heavy weights, and they're again taken back, aren't they? By surprise.
People think if you lift heavy weights, you're going to end up really bulky, but
yeah, but it doesn't happen.
They're shocked.
Well, all the very best for
Thank
your
you.
competitions that both of you are doing.
you.
Thanks ever so much for joining us in the
thank you.
studio this evening. Thank you. Well, that's it for the first half here on Team Talk Live on KMTV. Coming up after the break, we'll have a roundup of the weekend's hockey scores. Plus, I'll be joined by some of the best boxing talent in the county ahead of a big event this weekend.
Winning that hopefully has put me in a driving seat into getting the right fight next. Yeah.
Sort of the next step. Got to keep moving forward. Can't sort of be sitting back and doing the same old thing.
Before we go to the break, we've just got time to have a look at this week's Team Talk teaser for you. With the English Hockey League season now well underway, do you know how many goals in total were scored across the Women's Premier Division this weekend? Answer when we come back. Welcome back to the second half of Team Talk live on KMTV. Before the break, we asked if you knew how many goals were scored in total in the latest round of fixtures in the Women's Hockey Premier Division. Well, the answer was 13 from the 5 fixtures. With those scores from the weekend and how our Kent sides did this week, here's Harry again with a quick hockey roundup.
In the Women's Premier Division, and Holcombe couldn't continue their good form from the opening game of the new season. Olivia Wilde grabbing their goal to help them get a 1-1 draw. Canterbury, meanwhile, couldn't hold on to a 2-1 lead against Bowden, despite Grace Balson's penalty on the half-hour mark, picking up a point in a 2-2 draw. And in the men's division, and 2 Kent sides, Holcombe and Sevenoaks, faced off. Nick Bandura picked up where he left off from last season, scoring 5 of the Hawks' 6 goals in their 6-0 win against Kent rivals Sevenoaks.
On to boxing now, and joining me in the studio this evening are some of the best talent from across Kent: Luke Gibb, Jack Budge, plus promoter Joe Elfidh, ahead of this weekend's big boxing event at Mote Park. Before we chat to them, here's a look ahead to the event.
Winning that hopefully has put me in a driving seat into getting the right fight next. Yeah.
Sort of the next step, got to keep moving forward, can't sort of be sitting back doing the same old thing. So
I always start slow and I go through the levels.
The way I look at it, he's got 2 arms and 2 legs. He's stepping into the ring with me, that's it.
So Joe, Luke and Jack join me on the sofa this evening. Thanks ever so much for coming in, all of you. Joe, looks like a fantastic event. Tell us a bit about it at the weekend.
Yeah, we've got a powerful show. We've got 7 local fighters, all from Kent area, so they're all ready to go now for the first fight, so yeah.
What's the boxing scene like in Kent? Is it particularly busy at the moment?
It's growing, and by saying that, I've got 3 fighters on the following week on a Channel 5 show on a Barry McGuigan's undercard at York Hall. So, and they're lads who have built themselves up on a Kent small hall show. Now they're getting big TV contracts, which is good.
And tell us a bit about the venue where you're going to be fighting. Mote Park, what's the size of the audience like? How many people do you get coming along?
About 1,200 people. Mote Park is a brilliant venue, and I've put shows on at Medway Park. But I've stayed at Mote Park because the lighting's there, the staff are brilliant helping me set up. It's really a powerful show at Mote Park. 1,200 people there, that must be a fantastic atmosphere. And for some of your boxers, is this quite early fights in their careers? Yeah, it's I mean, like, Jack's coming up to his probably 3rd fight now, so what he's doing is we're building them up for them TV shows, and I'm going to use Grant for an example. Now he's got a Channel 5 show coming up a week later on the 13th, and he's a Kent boy. So these boys are sort of building their way up to them TV shows.
Absolutely. Luke, are you looking forward to it this weekend?
Yeah, I can't wait. All the prep's done now. Just sort of chilling out now and doing a little bit of tick over work. Just ready, obviously, for Saturday.
So what's the training been like ahead of your fight?
Oh, it's been hard. Anyone who does boxing will tell you boxing camp's one of the sort of the hardest sort of times, mentally and physically. Having to get up early in the mornings, go for your run, go to work, come back, go training again is really full on. And while you're doing all that, you're trying to make weight as well, so you're eating healthy. And yeah, it's just hard all round, really.
But you say now you're just kind of focusing on the fight at the weekend. You just leave the training. The training's all done now, I suppose.
Yeah, all the hard work's done now. It's just watching your weight, maintaining your weight, really, ready for your weighing on the day, and just chilling out and trying to get all that energy back into your body.
And Jack, tell us a bit about your fight and your opponent at the weekend.
Yeah, I've trained hard. I'm looking forward to it. I know my opponent, Ricky Leach. He's a mate of mine. He's a nice lad. But it's boxing. At the end of the day, like, you shake hands before, you shake hands after. But when you get in there, it's business. So
you don't find that side of it quite difficult then, when you know the people reasonably well that you're going to be fighting?
No. It's what you get into. It's what you do. Like, I know Ricky through the amateurs. Obviously, Luke was an amateur as well. Boxing's quite small. Everyone knows people through the amateurs. A lot of the boys go on to the pro ranks, as we have. So it's just kind of it is what it is, really.
And what are you expecting the atmosphere to be like at Mote Park?
I sell a few tickets, so I'll have a good bit of support behind me, as do a lot of the lads. So I imagine it'll be very busy and a great atmosphere to box in front of.
Absolutely, and it's great, as you say, Kent, you know, obviously is a great platform for these guys.
Especially with Jack's fight, there's two Kent boys fighting each other. They grew up together, as in the amateurs. They both knew each other. They never fought as the amateurs, but now they meet as a pro. So to having two Kent boys, who obviously Ricky's got his home-based fans and Jack's got his fans, it's going to be a cracking fight. And the two Kent boys, none of them want to lose in Kent, so it is going to be a good fight, that.
Absolutely not. Well, all three of you, thanks ever so much for coming in. We'll chat to you again in just a minute. But before we go, let's take a look at some of the best tricks, tackles and tweets during the last week or so. Keelan Webster has this week's Team Talk's Top Corner, and we start with a very brave Maidstone centre half.
First up is Maidstone United defender Will de Havilland, who produced his best Terry Butcher impression during their 1-1 draw with Chesterfield. The centre-half crunched his head against the post during the game, but boss Harry Wheeler wasn't complaining.
He comes straight back on and won even more headers, you know, so just shows the mentality he's got and the desire he's got, and, you know, he's one of us and he's been excellent.
Great player, and he's just...
Yeah, that's the thing, it's the mentality. People underrate that, to go and, you know, get a head injury like and come back on and carry on doing it. There's not many people would do that, and, you know, he just showed today that he's definitely one of ours and he'll be here for a long time.
Kent cricket batsman Joe Denley followed an England Test call-up by being awarded a testimonial year. To celebrate, Joe is giving away a signed bat, but I don't think Denley's former captain Rob Key was that fussed about winning the prize. And finally, Gillingham striker Tom Eaves was back amongst the goals this weekend, nabbing a crucial equaliser in a 2-2 draw at Shrewsbury. Throughout the season, opposition fans have poked fun at his ponytail, chanting, well, along the lines of, you're just a bad version of Andy Carroll. The Gills have introduced their goal celebration gifs on Twitter this season. As Eaves struck on Saturday, they unleashed their best yet.
So Joe, Luke and Jack are still on the sofa chatting about the boxing coming up at Mote Park this weekend. Obviously, you're all very much looking forward to it. What's this sort of fight and this sort of event, what does it lead to for your boxers?
Well, it's a profile. It's a profile to build the fighters up. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to get the boys active. So they start off as 3 fights, 4 fights, even going up to sort of 9 fights, small all shows. Then that's when they go up in the rankings and they get picked up by TV. So we've had Channel 5 interested in 3 of my fighters who do box at Maidstone, but now they've been offered a Your Call show and they're not going to turn that down. And it builds them up for the Sky Sports showing with the big undercards as well as top fights.
And I guess as well, the more they're seen, the more other opponents are going to come forward and say, I want to take on one of your men.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got Charlie Shane on the show. He's 1 fight away from entering a Southern Area title fight. As soon as he's had 1 more fight, he'll be going up to sort of double figures then we're going to put him in for a Southern Area title fight. Then what happens then? Other promoters bid for the Southern Area title, whether it's held in Kent, whether it's held somewhere else, which is brilliant for the fighters.
Absolutely. Luke, where do you see your boxing career going? What do you want to be achieving?
Oh, I'd love to get to a British sort of level, British standard sort of level, and fight for obviously the Lonsdale belt, which I think is everyone's sort of dream, but each step at a time, hopefully a couple more fights, like Joe sort of said, and then possibly go on to a Southern Area title, and then see sort of what doors open up from there, really. But I'd love to win the British belt, really. That's sort of my goal as of now. And then hopefully if that happens, then push on and start going for like world honours and stuff like that. But it's a long way off yet. You've got to dream big.
Absolutely. And Jack, what are your ambitions and maybe who do you look up to in the boxing world?
Well, like as Luke said, 1 step at a time. But I feel like when I'm fit and I'm ready, I want to be top. I want to be boxing for the world titles. My boxing idol was Joe Elfidh. I think he's the best ever. I think he's a real sporting icon, tall boxers up and coming. And like I say, 1 step at a time. But that's what I'm aiming for, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, we see the likes of, Joe Kawasaki from back in the day on TV, but now there are lots of big money fights, aren't there? Do you think maybe that encourages some people to want to get into boxing?
It's definitely an incentive.
Yeah.
And obviously it's one of those things where the lads are challenging themselves, they're doing well. I mean, Jack comes from a brilliant amateur pedigree. He's ABAs, won the ABAs. Where you get Anthony Joshua won the ABAs. Why can't somebody from Kent, 2 arms, 2 legs, go for a big title and be the next big name in boxing? And ideally, as a promoter and a manager from Kent, I can see a lot of talent. Luke's well capable of the British title, and by building the fighters up on the smaller shows, that's where the avenue opens up. And the 3 fighters who are boxing on the Channel 5 show, they're capable of bigger things, and fingers crossed they go for the TV platform and the big Sky Sports shows.
And the likes of Anthony Joshua, do you see them as really good, positive role models for your boxers?
Yeah, I mean, he's a class fighter as well as the role model for young people to show them what you can achieve. It doesn't matter what background you come from or what life you've had, you train hard and you become a champion.
Anyone wanting to come along at the weekend, what do they need to do, Joe?
There will be tickets on the door, but if they know the fighters, because they're all local boys, so the people from Kent come and watch their fighters, so either get in contact with the fighters or there'll be tickets on the door.
Thanks ever so much, all 3 of you, for coming in tonight. That's all from us this evening. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat using KM_Team Talk. We'll be back next Monday with the latest sports stories. Good night.